Sup, it's Hallie, and welcome back to Lisa the Overjoyed. When we last left off, we beat Nightmare Marty, but before we go any further, I wanted to crack open that bottle of what on earth that we spent so much money on. And knowing this game is probably just a load of crap, we'll pop it open and it'll be like nothing. With the bottle opened, you sniff the precious contents. It smells too hard to describe. You take a sip. Oh my. That familiar taste. Something you know all too well. You know what this tastes like. In fact, I think you knew what it tasted like all along. It tastes like a lie. A quenching joke. A satiating trick. A drowning trap. It's a lie, and you know it would be a lie. But it was expensive, so you bought in. What's wrong with you? Don't you know better by now? This is ridiculous. I think you'll like it. I think I like it. Is this good for us? Who cares? Get ready, because it's about to happen. The wave is coming. The wave you crave so much. It's going to hit you so hard. That wave of disappointment when nothing happens. Alright, yeah, so that's that thing. Yep. Let's reload. Back to the menu. Back to post-successful Marty fight. So now we need to just go finish the game, basically. That's all there really is to it. We're gonna truck to Area 2, take truck to Area 3 because the common events are broken or something. We already beat Sticky over here, so we can just like drive on over to Tardy and be on our way. Let's go. Leave them all behind and set sail to fight Marty for real. I'm tempted to save stream blathering for later, but I might need to anyway because like the ending sequence doesn't really have anything for me as far as like story progression or like the gimmick or whatever. This gimmick isn't even going to continue into Joyful, so it's like this is just it. Once we've beaten the game, we'll reload the save and just wrestle for the remaining time. See all the moves one last time. Feel like we get our fill of the characters that we chose, etc. and so forth. It's not like I have that much to blather about either. It's not like things have been moving much quicker than in previous weeks. I work so much on Take-Two these days that like I forget how far I've gone since last time and whatever. Time to fight them. Yeah, I'm gonna just like throw a fireball at him. How quickly can we get this done? That quickly. One-shotted. 4 experience. I'm surprised it even made 1 percentage point of difference. Still pick up all these bottles though. We might be a psycho murderers type dude, but we're not litterers. Nope. There we go. Oh right, and I looked up at the end of after last stream to see how much damage Farty might have done with that bottle throw. He only needed to do 82, which isn't a very impressive number. But when I was looking on the website, apparently, when you throw an empty bottle, it's guaranteed to hit. So it's actually kind of reliable for doing damage in that regard. So yeah, as soon as Farty threw that bottle, manifestation of Marty's fate was sealed. I just would have liked to see how much damage it actually did. because Manifestation of Marty has pretty impressive defenses. And the formula did say that defense was a factor, to some degree. Yes, it's very sad. Except this guy's, like, a rapist. Let's not forget that. Just because he's old doesn't mean he didn't live a terrible life. Was that me starting to crave? Because I can fix that with one of my 99 joy pills. The only crow that does not explode. She took the raft. Well, I don't know if I would call it a boat. It really is more of a raft. But anyway. Nope, he's not craving. That was just a noise the game made. I want to say he can still end up in withdrawal over the course of the finale. Alright, time to use Tardy to cross the sea. The Hernandezes were always useful for travel. At least he's buoyant. It's times like these you should take to just stop and reflect on everything you've been through. Randoland has such great imagery. It's so inviting. Alright. So even though we're like a loser and a failure and all that, there's no reason to go walking off cliffs and such. I think I'll skip making all the firebombs this time. I usually make them all just out of like some insane sense of completion, but you really don't need them. It's just, you don't. You don't need them. Maybe if you're way behind in levels you need them, but I don't. Actually, I think I can probably skip like every item in this sequence and just go for it. But it feels wrong, doesn't it? It feels so wrong. They are there for me to collect. How can I walk past them? But even if they take so long. I might not have enough bottles to fill up all the firebombs. Then again, I did get a whole pile on Marty's Island, so like, It is kind of convenient that the item you need to make firebombs, and those being the most useful thing to help you get through the end sequence of the game, Marty happens to have used so many. It's just really nice and convenient that it works in both a story way and a gameplay way. Alright, Mr. Antonelli. You knocked that off. Nice dodge. I didn't know he could heal himself, actually. Not that it matters much. Do what you want at all, at all. Hello, Lego Man. Welcome back. Thanks for stopping by. I noticed you missed last stream. What happened, guy? Just get busy? Did manifestation of Marty scare you away? You didn't miss much, honestly. It's a very repetitive boss fight. The climax was kind of awesome, but apart from that, not really worth the time. What? Oh, hold on. Brad fought off his craving. Still gotta tick this thing up. Will it stay at a nice clean 30 for the rest of the game? Probably not. There'll probably be craving in between, like, wrestling matches and stuff. Can you jump up on this truck? You can. Can you go in this truck? In this truck? No. Oh my god. I'm getting the urge. The urge to collect the firebombs. Is there anything over here? There's... I have no need for any of these things, and yet I desire them. This is the spirit of Kara at work. I'm gonna take them. I have a problem. I can't help myself. Get all the things. All of them. Leave nothing behind. I was wondering what these little dealy-doos leaning against the wall are, but I think they might be tires now I look at them. Makes sense than most things it could possibly be. You know, it kind of matches the tire on the generator there, just on a different angle. There really are a lot of gas generators here. I kind of regret jumping off all the way on the left there. Did I get for it? Yeah, I'll have to go around for that little bagged item. Just hold on. Do some climbing. Last little bit of platforming before the finale. Hold on a second. Was there anything over here? I feel like I always check. Oh, there is one more generator. There is a generator all the way over here. And a cliff you can throw yourself off if you wish. Brad may feel like a failure, but he stopped taking fall damage. I think I got that one on the way over. Yeah. Alright, now that we have like 80 firebombs. Let's go! Maybe I will use at least some of them. It is an awful lot of dudes, and setting them on fire helps. Also, I must not forget to read the dialogue of my compatriots. Well, a few bits of unique dialogue they get. Stop! You never really know who says stop. You came. I barely know you. Maybe this isn't my place to speak. But this is humanity's last hope, brother. We gotta do what we gotta do. It's our friend. Yeah, this is my chance to do something with my life. I need this. The world needs this.
You killed my brother. After everything my family has done for you, it's because of me you got this far. And it's because of me you won't get any further. It's time to die, Brad.
You know, Freddy grew a spine. No. You can't have her. All of you people are filling your head with nonsense. Blinding her. You don't understand. I have to save her. I'm sorry, guys. Dun dun. Fight your friends. Alright. So we'll start by lobbing one of my 28 diesel firebombs. Betrayal of the century. Arguably, it's Brad who betrayed them, but you know, whatever. Alright, time to take out the Rando army. Today is the day he lives. Diesel bomb. Can't even hurt me while I'm joyed. We also got out of the manifestation fight with most of our stats intact, which is pretty great. Lord. Okay, that does target just one person. Just the animation was so huge, I was like, did it actually target everyone? No. Man, the crits just make it too easy. Well, I guess my Joyed status wore off. Yeah, and in a way I'm surprised that the gimmick of taking joy all the time for Brad didn't matter more. And in a way I'm kind of glad it didn't, because, you know, that made it less of a big deal. But at the same time, it's like, what's the point of a challenge run if it's no challenge at all? So, part of me feels a little bad about that. Like, maybe I could have brought more people with joy addictions for the party and just actually used up my stockpile to some degree. Man, bombs are just stronger. Just get them done. I'm gonna scream at him. I'm gonna cry a little bit. Why is this guy so durable? There we go. Yeah, see, it's like Cape is still animated here. Why not earlier? Fair. Alright, so... I remember, if I recall, he is, like, resistant to fire, but you can still burn him. Yeah. Can I poison him too? Yeah. Get those dots going. No, he stopped burning. Meh. Oh, he's resistant to that too, but it's not actually a fire attack. 435. Catch fire, dang it. I'm actually just gonna use them all, I don't even care. I made them, I'm using them. Alright, so hold on, is he still... no, he's not poisoned anymore. But I am getting a bit beat up. Perhaps I should use one of my incredibly numerous healing items. Even though he's resistant, I think that does the most damage of anything. How did I never notice this name changed to Broken Man at this stage? Maybe it's a definitive edition detail that I never got used to. Oh, he's already burning. Whatever, it's done. Okay, now we're good. He's not craving. He could be, but he's not. Did he earn it this run? Well, I mean, he did give into his joy addiction very, very hard. But that doesn't mean he doesn't deserve love. a race to the finish now. Here we go. Got that one leg of locomotion. Go, Red, go. There's our protagonist, everyone. Hi. Up to debate whether that flower is actually there. Alright, and now for like the rest of the credits. Can I like hold A to skip them up? A. Holding the Z key. I'm such a Nintendo head that anytime I'm thinking of like default action key, I'm like, A. Skip is spacebar. Yeah. We don't need to see those. Oh yeah, the pain mode ending where you walk through this field and you find out what happened to Rando. Diddly too diddly was still a thing at this point. Or even this far back in time. Alright, so that's that. But we have to go wrestling for the rest of the stream. Yeah! Wrestle time! I gotta truck keys. Yeah! Truck to 2, truck to 3. Yoop. Oh wait, no. I was actually closer when I was at 2. It's fine. Don't worry about it. We'll get over there. We'll do all the wrestle things. And that'll be it for the series. Well. So. As far as oh, we gotta keep up with that still though. We're not allowed to not do that. Put that joy you taking total 31 there, mister. Yeah. But anyway, as far as things are going, well, kind of hard to say. This week, I have kind of come to the conclusion that anytime I don't shave and willingly inflict myself with what I call a depression beard, it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy, and I just get a little more depressed than usual. It's kind of hard for me to gauge. It's just Dystopian Rumble is what we want to do. Dystopian Rumble for everyone! Starting with, we'll just use the skills all down the line. I should concentrate on getting all the moves in before I, worry about, shattering a lot. No, you can't do anything, Brad. You need more TP before you can do your things. Do I want to take something for that? Do I even have anything I can take for that? I think not, actually. Everything is HP and SP. Yeah, everything's HP and SP. That's okay, just tackle him.
There you go. There you go.
I'm telling you, man, something happened to Buff and he just totally fell off. I do not understand it at all. Oh, who could use the encouragement, even though we're basically fine. We're actually far enough to the side using that attack that we saw Buff's sprite disappear. Woohoo! It's W Rumble! Keep going. You didn't get to do a whole lot last time, Brad. You spent like the whole match just stunned. Yeah, you need more SP or no TP to do your things. Good lord, Farty. We're just too much for them. As to be expected after the raid boss. So let's see. I think that was Fireball we used last. Let's try Fireball too. We've already seen everything Farty can do, which is a little bit sad, but also a little bit whatever, because he's Farty. Seeing everything Buff can do might be a little difficult. I feel like Fireball got a little bit gypped because we couldn't see Brad on the side of the screen, like really though. Man, we get TP for Buff and he's freaking falling. It's okay, there will be plenty of opportunities. How did they catch fire? It's not like I threw a bomb at them. It's something I did, like, I wasn't paying attention to how they obtained those dots. It's weird. Well, whatever. Cannonball! Oh wait, it's the big fireball, probably. That's how it happens. That sets them on fire. He's so dumb. So we used Barbaric Rush last time. Let's see, Rubble Skaroo. Buff is such a disappointment, dude. All those moves are just upgrades of each other with the same animations, different sound effects, maybe, if you're lucky. Oh, it's not like the regular attacks. Well, I need more for Satan Rush. Keep going. Alright, so we could look at Satan Rush this time. Yeah. How much you want to bet? It's the same animation. Yup. Don't think we're gonna get another buff moves in here. Also wouldn't be so bad, but he's high defense. It just makes it so he gets TP even slower. Alright, mountain screw, here it comes. Miss, of course. Surprised we aren't craving more under these circumstances, but I don't know if the rate at which Brad gets cravings increases outside of battle or not. It's all very mysterious to me. Oh, come on, guys, you can hit buff. He needs slightly more for lumberjack tackle. You know what? You guys get to do nothing. How do I get rid of your actions? I don't think I can, actually. Oh, I can just guard. I'll just make them all guard, and then they won't attack. Didn't expect to take out the other three so quickly. Alright, now we have to see it as a lumberjack tackle. It's definitely not just... Well, actually, it does have a different icon than the other things, so maybe. It's nice the guard has priority. Oh, no, never mind. It's the same as his regular attack. But it looks like it has the same property as his other move, where it doesn't consume all of the TP as long as it hits. Big ol' caveat, as long as it hits. And Patriot Exploder is the last one. Last one to save for. Oh, there. That one actually hit that time. Hooray, mountain screw. We sure screwed that mountain. Jeez, guys, take it easy. I encourage Buffett greatly while he tries to get more TP. Just a little more for Patriot Exploder. Birdie finishes with the stick. OverJoyed Explore! Yep, the jury's out. The jury has reached their conclusion. Buff just plain sucks. Even with this whole not using all of his TP for the big 2 moves, it just takes so long to get those big 2 moves. It just doesn't realistically come up. That was it. We saw all the animations of all the dudes that we bothered to bring with us this time. Hooray! We have appreciated the party members. I don't know if there are like cutscenes that might have involved them while camping or whatever. Never been good at tracking those things down. But whatever, we're not going to worry about it. We're just going to wrestle into the night. While I talk about the sorry state of my affairs or whatever. So let's see. Oh, what do I even say? Well, like I said, been working on take 2 as much as I can, and oh yes, the depression beard. Yeah, sometimes whenever it's like a Sunday, because I always shave after I shower on Sunday, and it's like a Sunday morning kind of thing there. But like, sometimes I'm just not. Oh, I actually am like legitimately depressed, and I don't feel like shaving them, so I don't bother, and I just kind of embrace the depression. Like, depression beard, go. And on weeks like that, sometimes it actually seems like it helps. But other times, like, I just kind of get in the shower a little later than I mean to, and I want to, like, get on with my day or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I'll just let the beard go. But then, in the rest of the week, consistently, it's just, like, kind of drags me down. And not just because it makes my face itch. I don't know why I really brought this up, but, like, well, I mean, obviously because I have a depression beard this week. And I get maybe it dragged me down a little bit, but I don't know if I really want to pin it all on the beard, but I also had, or because I also had a couple of late nights this week. Like, for example, on Tuesday, I was really, or was it, wait, no, not Tuesday. Hold on. Monday, I think we ran too late to do anything. Because Monday, Wednesday, Friday is whenever I help my sister with stuff at her place. And I was really determined to, like, get in around with my latest sweaty deck from the Pokemon TCG. Because I had used it in a round against my sister with her Ethan's deck once before, but it didn't quite go my way, and I wasn't sure what exactly went wrong there. But I played my cards a little differently this time, and I had also updated a whole bunch of them. And it basically worked as intended, and I defeated her handily, so I was happy about that. But anyway, we had played that game on Wednesday night, and the game, we started it around like 10 or so, and we were finished around 11 or so, which is super not great for my purposes. Not super duper good for me. I got to bed very late, woke up feeling very tired, was not able to make much of my Thursday. Ah, goodness. It was much the same on Friday, too. Like, well, I mean, not so much as far as, like, playing cards or whatever, but, like, I had went out of my way to do not only the usual chores, but, like, some extra ones before I left, so I got her place at, like, 9:45, which really ain't bad, but I was really beat. Because, like, one of the chores I'm sometimes inclined to skip is, like, mopping. And it doesn't really need done all the time, particularly now that I've been keeping up with it for a while. Because, like, for a while, whenever I first started mopping, because she has, like, hard floors for part of her house, I was doing it during the winter because, like, well, the floor was legitimately dirty, and, like, you know, it's because, you know how kids are. They're not the cleanest little imps, and they drop their food sometimes. It adds up after a while. But, like, especially during the winter, there was, like, salt and stuff getting all over the ground. And just making things kind of brackish and yucky. So, for several weeks in a row, I was just like, I'll give it one good mopping until it stops like totally ruining the some Swiffer regs, and it still kind of does, honestly. But it's not nearly as bad as it originally was. I can kind of just tell. Like, they come out sort of a dull gray instead of, like, closer to black. But whatever. I guess the long and short of it is, I mopped this week, and that was additional time and effort on my part, and it really left me worn out when I got back Friday night, and it spilled over a bit into this morning. So I spent like a couple extra hours in bed this morning just trying to rest, get enough energy to face the day. Didn't do as much game design as I normally would for a Saturday. And that's not... I'm not explaining that to, like, excuse not making progress on Take-Two. I'm still trying to. It's just like... These are the reasons why sometimes less of it happens. But progress is still being made, just like maybe not nearly as fast as I could ever hope for at all. It's actually quite disconcerting. Like, part of the reason why I was bummed out early this week was I realized we're like most of the way through July already, and like my project timeline is getting drastically short, and I know how much I still need to put into this thing, and it's kind of just scaring the crap out of me. Actually, started thinking about other ways I can pare down the story to make sure it's still like, so it still feels complete, but that the workload is manageable. And like, there are all these other things I would still like to do with it if I have the time, but it's like, I need to get the essentials in first. Like, what does the story need to be complete from like a game perspective? So trying to figure that out, how I can fit it all in. And like, for my progress update last month, I had presented this like schematic of the school I'd put together in RPG Maker to help me conceptualize it better, and I basically decided I'm going to be cutting out the new building almost entirely. Most of the puzzle areas were intended to be in, like, the one building anyway, so... in a way, it's just removing a lot of fluff. But there are some locations I was legitimately hoping to include, like the auditorium, and the gymnasium, and some other things like that. But yeah, having one fewer building to have to put together, even with existing assets, is going to help. I think I'll still leave, like, I'll still have, like, the passages that would lead to it and all there, but the doors will just be locked and you won't be able to find a key that opens them. Unless I, like, actually get far enough to include that content. We'll have to see. Yeah, but most of what I was trying to figure out was, like, what can I do with the school as it is to make it work for the story? And I still haven't quite figured out that timeline because I haven't really had the opportunity, to be honest. Because, like, anytime I have game design time, I'd rather be using it towards something, like, tangibly productive for the project. And it's not to say that project planning isn't tangibly productive, but it feels like the kind of thing I don't have to be doing when my computer's right in front of me. Like, if I'm at, if I'm, like, find myself with, like, a spare moment on the job or whatever. Like, if the workload wasn't enough for the day and there isn't anything else left to do, I can, like, puzzle over that sort of thing in the spare time. So yeah, I still need to figure out what all I want to go into the remaining 3 chapters of Act 7, and basically where to put them. And I think I have a decent idea, but I really need to hammer it out so it doesn't feel so daunting. Earlier today when I was working on it, I was figuring out what to do with the structure of the old building, which is where the Act 7 events start. And since I'm remodeling the first floor, I was taking a second look at like the cafeteria BG I had made, or had based the cafeteria on, and I came to the conclusion that the cafeteria shown in it is significantly larger than the room size I designed. And I wasn't able to stretch it too much more, but I was just enough to make it clear, I think. Just maybe. Like, there's a point at which the BG cuts off, where you can kind of infer what would be past that point. And so I think the new size will probably be fine. But it forced me to change a bunch of sprites, and it affected like the floors above it too, because they were still based on like the smaller model or before, and it affected the positions of the bathrooms and their entrances and stuff. And I was like, it feels like a lot of wheel spinning, but it is kind of necessary in a way. But yeah, it's coming along, step by trudging step. I think it will feel a lot better once I get over the hump of these revisions and can actually start producing new content again. Because the last like truly new thing I did for it was making Yuri's first devil and like the ensuing cutscene when you defeat it. But there are also, like, some new things I've been adding to the building. Like, just before the stream, actually, I was making a new separate space for the locker rooms. It used to just be kind of hanging out in the bottom left corner of the main building. But I decided to give it its own space to better suit the new shape of the school. Because originally, I had interpreted that, the old building was the new building, so to speak. I had decided to put the Doki's classrooms building in the back of the school instead of the front, because the BG I have for the front doesn't match the architecture of the back. So with this layout, it's a better, more cohesive environment, and like the BGs aren't betrayed quite so much by the actual layout of the school. The only, like, detail I feel like I must overlook, unfortunately, is from one of the canon BGs. Because, like, since we're allowed to use BGs from the side stories, I picked up the one for the stairs. And if you look at the wall to the left of the stairs, like, where the tile path for the corridor presumably goes, you can see, like, at the top of the wall, there's like one of those little high-set windows. I don't really know what's up with those things, but like, I had to put this staircase at the far end of the ground floor of the school, so it's like all the way on the right side of it. But it's also at the end of a corridor that has classrooms. And we know what the classrooms look like from the standard corridor BG of DDLC. And with the layout I have of the corridors, there is no way I can think of to reasonably justify a window being in that position where it's seen on those stairs. I don't know what would even be there. And if I put in something different than a classroom or whatever, it's going to make the school, like, even longer horizontally, which is probably, like, an irrational concern to the nth degree. It's like, oh no, the school is slightly wider than you would think it should be. But even then, I just don't know what I would possibly put there that would even be useful. And I kind of want the school to, like, be mirrored to an extent. Like, the left wing matches the right wing, etc., and so forth. So yeah, apart from that one little bit that maybe no one will even notice unless they happen to watch this stream and be DDLC fans, which is a circle so small it probably doesn't include anyone. That's what I'm betting on. Whatever. There's that one little detail. Oh, level ups. Who'd have thought we could still level up at this time? But yeah, I've been trying to get that whole thing together. And yeah, since the lockers are in a different spot now. Well, they're still in like the same spot, but you go through a door to get them instead of them just being addended to the building. Because, like, if I wanted to leave them open the way they were before, they would have to connect to the left side of the hallway a little bit as well, and I didn't want that. It's a little bit hard to explain without, like, showing you the schematic and how that all goes. But basically, there's a corner space that would have been created by the wing connecting with the main building, and the lockers occupy that corner space. So yeah, added the locker room on the left, and I still have to make the locker room on the right and like add some events and stuff, but that's really not too difficult. Also, designed the girls' bathroom. I have sprites made for the boys' bathroom, but you can't get in there until you've unlocked MC, because silly arbitrary rules. And once I get back through all of the events of, like, Chapter 1, I guess I'll probably be replaying it, and, just to make sure everything's in order. I need to, like, look over how many hints are available, because some bulletin boards got disappeared while other bulletin boards got added. I need to figure out precisely how many hints are available for the player to read and make sure they're all, like, matched up with where they should go. And there are some things that I need to create descriptions for. I probably should have created them. Well, I guess I shouldn't say it'll all get done, because if it was all going to get done, well, I would need a much bigger project timeline than I have. All the important things will get done. I just need to figure out which important things are important enough to warrant. Because, like, there was this one scene that I was planning to put in the courtyard toward the end of, or toward the middle of, like, the 4th chapter of Act 7. That was supposed to be, like, really significant. I don't really even want to talk about it for, like, the sake of spoilers and all that. But, like, it happens in the courtyard, and it can't really not happen in the courtyard. At least not the way I'm envisioning it. And, I don't think I want to let it go. Which would necessitate that I include the courtyard. And it's not like that would be an impossible feat. It is, like, close enough to the main building not to be a big deal. And I would just, like, lock off the doors that lead into the new building. And, like, fence off the areas that would lead to the auditorium and whatnot or whatever. It'll get figured out. It's just a lot. It's so much. But, on the plus side, I have been working on a thing this week that is actually going to save me quite a bit of time. So I've got this, like, spreadsheet that I use to keep track of my trading cards from the Pokemon trading card game. And, it is quite large already. It contains a great many things, but since AI is on the rise and being thrust into every corner of everything anyone is doing, there's this little icon that appeared in the bottom right corner of my spreadsheets for Copilot. And for a while I was just like, yeah, whatever, I don't need this. And then it occurred to me that maybe I could use Copilot to like, update the spreadsheet without me having to do steps 1 through 987 every time. And, I was able to figure that out. Now, the problem with it is you can only do a certain number of actions with it per day. I think last I checked it was 7. You can do 7 things with it before trying to tell it to do something else will be like, try again tomorrow or upgrade. And there's no way in heck I'm ever going to upgrade. So figuring out how to make it do as many things as possible within as few actions as possible was basically my goal. And that's what I did. I had fed it various instructions to see how it would be able to handle doing the updates needed for the spreadsheet. And eventually, I put them together in a list. Like, I just sectioned off a part of the spreadsheet for a detailed list of all the actions it needs to take in a row, so I can be like, run this sequence of actions. That only counts as one action as far as Copilot's concerned, but it still does, like, all the things. And it has been able to do an impressive number of things. I don't really know if the whole process works because, like, there are a lot of exception cases that haven't come up simply because of, like, how the card game works. I guess we've got an hour to talk about this. Why don't I expound? Basically, the way I organize my Pokemon TCG spreadsheet, I have a tab that lists all of the actual cards and separates them into 3 charts based on the kind of card they are. So there's a chart for basic Pokemon, things that don't evolve from anything. There's a chart for Pokemon that do evolve from something. And then there's one remaining chart that covers all the trainers and energy cards and special energies and stuff like that. All of that. It's all on there. So there's that tab with the 3 charts. And every time I'm adding cards to the collection, new entries need to be added to those. And existing entries need to be updated with however many new cards I've obtained of those. So like if I had Charmander number 5 from Stoopy Doop set 47, and I get a second copy of that card, it's like, okay, just update that one instead of creating a new one. So things will go on there. But the next tab is where things get complicated, because I have a separate tab called Lists that keeps track of which cards are compatible with each other. And these charts are separated by, like, the energy types the game uses. Because, you see, the whole point of this spreadsheet, apart from just being, like, a humongous database of my cards, is to generate randomized decks. And to do that, it looks for Pokemon that are compatible with each other as far as, like, evolutions and energy goes and stuff. So there's, like, a chart for Pokemon that use grass energy, and a chart for Pokemon that use fire energy, etc. and so forth, all the way across the whole darn thing. There are 9 type charts for the 9 types of Pokemon. I still count Fairy, even though it is no longer a thing and might never come back. In fact, it probably will never come back. I feel like if they were going to include it by now, they would have. It hasn't been a type since Gen 7. And it's been 2 generations since then, and they've introduced more fairies such that maybe it could have been viable, but it really doesn't seem like they're interested in that now, does it? The people developing the game. But anyway, we've got those 9 charts for the generalized using energy types. Then there's a chart for Pokemon that use more than one type. I call it the Dragon chart since that's kind of the gimmick of dragons in the modern trading card game. Like, if a Pokemon is Dragon type, typically it has no weakness, no resistance, and it requires more than one element on the card to do its things. And that's the trade-off, because usually, if you're trying to have a deck that's consistent to work with, you want fewer energy types, because you don't have to worry about, like, finding more than one, basically. But if a Pokemon would go on the Dragon chart, it's because they use more than one element on their card. And that can be, like, actual dragons, like Noivern uses Psychic and Dark usually. They can also be things like there's this Colossal that is a fighting type and requires fighting energy, but it is an attack that gets powered up if it has fire energy attached. So, like, even though fire is not like a requirement for you to use its moves, it's still a second element that works with the card, so it goes on the dragon chart as a fire dual fire fighting dealio. That's how that works. And beyond the mixed element chart, there's the colorless chart, which is for not just colorless Pokemon, but any Pokemon that does not have specific energy requirements. So, like, oftentimes there will be Pokemon in the game that are like, they just have colorless for all of their requirements. Like, colorless is just like a little white dot, and the thing about that is any element can fill it. So Pokemon with those can basically travel between charts freely because they're compatible with any of those things. Rather than put them on every freaking chart, they get their own chart, and they only travel to other charts based on their relatives. So, like, I think a good example for this one is Scyther, because Scizor is usually a metal type in the card game, and Scyther is never a metal type, obviously. It's bug flying, which translates to grass colorless in the card game. But, like, since Scyther often evolves into Scizor, they usually don't give it grass requirements for its attacks, so that you can attach metal energy and still use all of its attacks. So, most Scythers appear on the colorless chart, as well as, like, the metal chart, because they have Scizors there to evolve into, and on the grass chart because they are themselves still grass. And although grass Scizors are a lot less common in the trading card game, they do exist. So that's basically how that goes. Which chart you end up depends on your energy types and, well, whether you've got things there that you jive with. And communicating all of that to the AI was kind of challenging, but not insurmountable. I was able to figure out a way to get it to seemingly reliably do that. I just need to encounter more fringe cases like that to see how it handles them. And that's not really up to me. That's more like it all depends on what's in my packs for the day. And I could just, like, create some example entries for it to practice on, I suppose, but that's also, like, wasting actions. But it's been fun to tinker around with. Quite a bit. Yeah, I put together this whole 14-step spelling out all kinds of things and ambiguities and processes and stuff, and I'm just like, here's the thing, run it, and it's like, it takes just a solid minute to do because it's so big. But if it can get it done in a minute, that's still a lot faster than I would get it done. And I can check over its work much quicker than it would take for me to just do the thing myself. So, yippee! Card updates. Gonna be super easy going forward. I'll have to see how far I can push that. I feel like I've pushed it plenty far already, and I'm kind of surprised it's working as well as it is, because I really don't have a whole lot of practice with prompting AIs, but I do have, like, a pretty logical mind, so this sort of thing comes somewhat naturally to me. Just somewhat. One of the things that makes me nervous about it is that it doesn't have, like, infinite room in its chat log for information, and if info starts dropping off the top of the chat log, it's basically like you never talked to it. So while there is, like, a machine learning component to it, if any of the instructions I gave it drift off too far away, I will have to reteach it those things. But that was part of the reason why I made the big long list in the first place. Not just to save on actions, but, like, to have a reliable process that I could show it, even if it was, like, fresh-faced and forgot everything, it could show it this and it would know what to do with all the stuff. It remains to be seen if that will pan out or not. After all, I've only been working with it for a week, and like most of the things I talked to it about are still in the chat log. Like, I can't see the top of it anymore. Doesn't mean the top of it isn't still there. But it is curious. Just gotta watch out and make sure it doesn't screw things up. Like, every time I'm about to run it, I make a copy of the spreadsheet so that I can compare the old one to the new one. And most things are going through just fine so far. I'm always a little bit disappointed whenever I try to tell it something else. And it's like, nope, come back tomorrow. I'm like, gotta wait a whole day before I can play with the AI some more. So that's kept me busy, but will keep me less busy. The time I sunk into it will save me so much more later. And man, AI is only getting started. Who knows how much better it'll get. Monica being real by 2029 might have been a closer estimate than anyone realized. But yeah, it's just as well. Because, like, as I gain efficiency in some areas, I kind of lose it in others. It's like my work. I think I talked about it a little bit last week. My work started this initiative to eliminate our records room by doing this massive scanning project. And while it has yet to get fully underway because of, like, some logistics issues is how I would describe it. Basically, we didn't have a fully fleshed out plan of how to do the whole thing, and I feel like we're close to having one. But there's like one lingering question left. I asked them over Teams before the end of the week, well, where the link was that we should be sending the scans to, and once I have that component, then I can start putting time into that task. But yeah, I don't know how long that will keep us occupied, but it looks like my work days will be quite busy going forward. And my HR department is starting this initiative, or at least I assume it spawned from HR. It's the kind of thing that sounds like it would come from HR. But basically, they used to do these, like, annual performance reviews, and they would talk about how you were doing and kind of give you, like, a little star rating in certain areas, tell you where your weekend could be doing better, tell you where you're doing great, etc. and so forth. And they decided that method was not holding up, I guess, or something. I don't know. Basically, what they decided the new method should be is that each staff member, every quarter, gets to pick 2 personal goals to work on. And I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be actually kidding me. I can barely think up, like, 2 personal work goals for, like, a whole year. It's like, here's the thing. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I am definitely the kind of person that, like, does my best to refine how I operate in my life, like, all the time. And I know that's definitely not something that most people do. So, like, other people, I feel, have a much broader growth potential than I do, is how I would describe it. So, while this might work for some people, and I'm not even sure if it really would anyway, it certainly doesn't work for me, and I don't know how to approach this exactly. I might have to talk to my supervisor about it and be like, yo, I don't even know where to start with this. My role in particular in the company doesn't have a lot of room for growth either. It's not even just like on a personal level. We'll just have to see. I'm half hoping that it'll turn out to be too cumbersome and it'll just fizzle out and they'll be like, you know, maybe we don't do it that way. We'll have to see. It's like, not wanting to, like, undersell the potential of other people, but I feel like most people are not, like, self-reflective enough for that sort of thing. It might encourage self-reflection, to a degree, but like, just based on how people generally seem to be, I feel like they would also be hard-pressed to come up with 2 personal goals every 3 months and like make tangible, observable progress by any meaningful measure. So we'll see. We'll see. It's not a big company, but it's big enough that I can see this becoming like a huge deal and nobody wanting to do it anymore. But who knows, maybe that's just my personal bias talking. Maybe that's something I need to work on. As if, my god. I'm one of the few people who even acknowledges the existence of objectivity. It's a skill. You have to practice it. Never played DDLC Salvation yet. There's a remake version and a non-remake version. I like the non-remake better personally anyway. It's a really great mod and I am a quite worthy DDLC sequel. I've never actually played Salvation. I've heard basically only good things about it, and from the things I've heard, it doesn't seem like it did anything too egregious. Like, it's one of the few popular mods that I don't have, like, a strong negative opinion about for one reason or another. But, you know, at the same time, the developers of it never reached out to have me play it, so, like, it seems the only way it'll ever happen is if someone sneaks it in whenever my queue runs out someday. Which I'm sure it eventually will. I mean, heck, we're playing World of Dreams right now because it ran out. But yeah, I got nothing against Salvation, per se. So I guess I can't really talk on it much, which is too bad. It is a well-liked, mostly Sayori-focused mod as far as I know. And honestly, I'm not really sure I know the premise, come to think of it. Like, I know it's... I want to say it's a Save the Dokis mod, to some degree, but I don't know how its approach differs from, like, Convergence or other similar such things. I'm confident it's not route-based. Yeah, I don't know enough about it to really offer an opinion. Which is surprising, considering how prominent it is. Sorry, I'm gonna hit everybody with my head slime. But yeah, I guess what's throwing me and the description you offered there is that you say it's a DDLC sequel. And I don't know that it is. Like I said, I guess I would need to know what the premise is to actually weigh in on that. Because as far as I was aware, nobody ever actually bothered to make a sequel mod. But at least not the way I am with Take-Two. Yeah. Back whenever, Fit Marshmallow was still active in the community, or hanging around in my Discord at least a little bit, he had said that I should be selling Take-Two, not literally selling it, but like advertising it as like the sequel mod, even though he disagreed that it was the sequel mod. I mean, that was him. He was a very opinionated person, much like me. I can't really knock him too hard for that. But anyway, yeah, I don't know of any mods that like directly act as sequels to the game in an effective way. Like, there's Encore, but Encore actually, over the course of its story, reveals that it isn't truly a sequel, and it's also dumb in a lot of ways. So I don't know, if Salvation set out to be, like, an actual sequel mod, it's news to me. I guess that's all I can say. Has a lovely ending too, as long as you pick all the right choices. Oh, of course. Your voice acting of the characters speak, and you're quite good at replicating how each character would likely sound. Meh, I just go with, like, how I think they sound in my head, and I'm, like... Back whenever I was... Well, I mean, even still when I was developing mods, but, like, whenever I was working on the more visual novel-focused portions of my mod, I would read aloud to myself anyway, and those were kind of just the voices that emerged after a while. It'll be cool seeing you do it for this mod. Yeah, you either gotta, drop a line to the developer yourself and be like, hey, why don't you request Hali play it? That would be a surefire way to get it so long as they were willing to, because I don't refuse requests from developers. And other than that, you'll just have to watch for when my queue runs out. I don't think it's going to anytime soon. I don't know how much further we have to go with freaking World of Dreams. I'm not going to roll right on into Act 2. I have no intention of doing that. But, like, there are a couple entries that made their way in. Like, I know I've got MC Club coming up. One of the pinned posts I have on my Reddit account is my DDLC Let's Play queue. So you could go there to see what's coming up. I could also go there to tell you right now, and you know, it might be more productive than fighting all these wrestlemen. So why don't we... Oh god, the computer's struggling. Hold on, computer, you can do it. It's okay. You can walk and chew gum at the same time, computer. And also, this game just kind of keeps going, even if I'm navigated out of it. Let's see, what's coming up in the mod review / LBQ? Alright, yeah, World of Dreams. Homo Romantic was requested, then MC Club, and somebody requested Purple Skies, but I don't think they have a post for it. They linked it to me in Messenger, so that's what I have that notation there for. So after World of Dreams, there's at least 3 more mods left to concern ourselves with. You do play a whole lot of the DLC mods. Figured you'd probably be interested. Well, it's not like really a question of interest. Part of the reason why I take developer requests is because, well, I mean, it's not so much true right now, but I like to provide feedback to people so that they can improve their mods potentially if they wish, and like, there's also like a personal growth element to it for me as well. It's like, they learn from me and I learn from them, and maybe everybody benefits in some capacity. But I don't usually like inflict that on people randomly, which is why I encourage developer requests. And also because if any old rando could just roll up anytime and make a request, my review queue could get overstuffed very easily. Is basically what that amounts to. I haven't really hit, like, a degree of popularity where that would be an issue, but it's more of, like, of future potentiality that I've just nipped in the bud. It's like, if there was ever a circumstance where I became popular enough that randos requesting things would be an issue, I've already got a policy that says, you know, randos can't request things. And, you know, I make an exception whenever I've run out of things in my queue. But yeah, as stated, nothing against Salvation. They just never bothered to reach out, and none of their fans ever bothered to reach out to them to tell them to reach out to me. So you could be the one. You should whisper in their ear and be like, hey, there's a guy who will let's play any mod as long as the person who made it asks them to. Whoa. It's like he's been in the community for 8 years or something. How has Brad not craved joy once this entire time? My goodness. Something about these fights must be preventing it. I can swear I've seen him, like, start craving at mid-battle before, but maybe they took that out of Definitive Edition. I don't know why they would. It could have been an engine difference too, I guess. Like, this thing isn't still an RPG Maker, is it? Not really sure, actually. How did they make Definitive Edition? No, it's in, like, Unity, but surely they didn't, like, recreate the whole thing in a different engine. They must have been able to port it over somehow or something, right? I don't know. Trying to think what else I've got even going on. Not a whole lot. I kind of talked about all the things. Just blather about more Pokemon stuff. I finally, today, got the last of the things I'd ordered that aren't, like, pre-orders. I was kind of cope spending for a while there, and, I need to let that cool down for a bit. Like, a couple months ago. Goodness, it was, yeah, it actually has been a couple months. Back toward the end of May, a TCG player did this big old sale where you, like, when you buy things, you get, like, 5 or 8% store credit, I think it was. You get 8% store credit on things. And, like, I was close to the end of my Paradox Rift backstock by then. Or, not backstock, backlog, I think is a better way of describing that. But anyway, I had my big old backlog of Paradox Rift, and it was down to like 20 or 30 cards left, just barely off. But I had decided to include it in the things I was going to buy on TCG Player to like increase the range of things I could buy. So I took a look at what remaining cards were there to go through, and I figured out what my collection goals still required, and I bought more of those cards. But having that... I didn't buy them all. That would have been insane. But having that list compiled made the temptation to continue buying them a little too great. And it just kept going and going and going. And now, 2 months later, when Paradox Rift was so close to being done before, it has now been pushed back by countless things that got ahead of it in line, just because of, like, how the system works. So today, the last of those things arrived. It was, the 4th of the 2025 World Championship decks, which I decided to start collecting a little bit after the fact, so I picked those up. And now that I'm no longer cope spending to pick up all these things, I am going to wait until I have fully cleared Paradox Rift before I buy anything else. Except for, like, new releases. Like, on August 7th, there are going to be, like, a set of tins coming out or something. Oh, wait, no, I think it's the third... No, it's the first partner collection number 3. That's what's coming out on August 7th. But that thing only has like 2 packs in it and some promo cards. And I only need to buy 1 of it, even though, like, theoretically you could get 3, and if you were lucky, all 3 of them would be different. I just don't have that kind of money, and people are insane, and I'm only going to be able to, like, reliably obtain 1 regardless. But anyway, there are, like, I want to say, like, 290 cards left, and since I go through 20 cards a day, that's like a little less than 2 weeks. 2 more weeks before I will allow myself to spend on cards again. Not non-current edition cards. Always gotta include that caveat. A little less worried about my finances these days, but I'm also apprehensive because, like, some bills have not come due recently enough for me to really discern if it's an issue or not. If I do get in a bit of hot water, my sister said she's good to pay me back on some of what I loaned her, which is good to know, but I try to keep her flexible because she's just still trying to wrap up her voice. And while it seems to be nearing the end, it isn't fully pinched off yet, and there's still dust to settle, so... I want to leave her with whatever amount of cash she can so she can worry about more important expenditures, like lawyer fees and such. But yeah, I have non-zero concerns there. Because a lot of where my money has been going is, unfortunately, pre-orders from Pokemon Center. Because anytime I can get a pre-order for Pokemon Center, I'm gonna take them up on it. Part of this is just having standing orders from my sister, because she is also a Pokemon cards collector. And, she has a different approach to collecting the cards than I do. She greatly prefers ETBs and pines for the days when they were far more available than they are now. Personally, I don't get it. But, like, since things have gotten so bad with, like, scalpers and stuff, our attitude is basically, if we can get it for MSRP, we absolutely should. So, we're, like, part of this Discord server where they monitor the Pokemon Center website, and it checks for things like security level changes and queues opening so that you can get in quickly. And it's been pretty reliable for me. I've gotten almost all of the Mega Evolution set pre-orders. I think the only one I really missed was the first one. Landed all the Pokemon Center ETBs for those and stuff. But, like, a lot of the time, they'll release things on the website that I'm not interested in buying, but my sister is. So, like, they'll release, like, the ETB and the booster bundles you can buy 2 of, and a booster box that's 36 packs. And I'll only be interested in the ETB, but my sister will want all of those other things. And I'll be like, okay, I'll pick them up for you, and you can just add them to your tab. And it's like, okay, yeah, great. She's going to pay me back someday, but that's like multiple hundreds of dollars of things going into my sister account instead of remaining in my bank account. So it gets a little bit dicey. Phew. Because it turns what would be like a $60 order for me for 1 ETB into, well, like I said, multi-hundred, because I'll get 2 ETBs and 2 booster bundles and a booster box. And my sister has a big old bill I get to send her. And I'm not exactly lamenting buying doubles of the ETBs. In fact, most of the time, my sister, for whatever reason, has not been able to get in time. The pre-order drops tend to happen at times whenever she's not really able to concentrate on them the way she would need to. I'm lucky because I have a job that at a desk where I can just leave the tab open on a side screen and catch them all while I'm doing my job. It's not an issue whatsoever for me to keep up, but for her, she's had a very difficult time catching most of the Pokemon Center drops. So it's often been necessary for me to buy 2 ETBs just for both of us to get, like, their exclusive promo cards. But when it comes to the extras that are just raw packs and nothing else, which have no interest for me whatsoever, it's just kind of a bummer having to spend all those hundreds of dollars and hurting my financial flexibility for the sake of my sister, who isn't even in a position to be opening packs right now anyway. She has too many other things to worry about. She can't really afford that kind of leisure time. She's been trying to make more time for it in her schedule recently. And it seems to be working, but she's not all the way there yet. And it's also kind of irrelevant, I guess. It's not going to change the circumstance. Phew. Some people are banking on the release of Gen 10 to be like the thing that kills the interest of scalpers. Because it's not like scalpers are anything new to Pokemon trading cards, but they ebb and flow to an extent. Like, from what I heard, Scarlet and Violet was initially something that dampened sales of things, because since it's introducing new Pokemon, older fans are less inclined to care, I guess, because, you know, people have a lot more nostalgia for Bulbasaur than they do for Sprigatito. So apparently, after Crown Zenith had, like, impressive impressive pull rates for the set and all of that, scalping became less profitable because Scarlet and Violet and Paldea evolved, and, like, those just weren't hitting as hard. And it didn't really resurface again until 151 and the aftermath. In fact, I'm kind of surprised 151 didn't spark it sooner, with how crazy everyone went over that freaking set. Huh.
Phew.
But yeah, my money disappearing into collectible pieces of paper with pictures on them that aren't even mine. We'll see how much, or if it becomes an issue, I guess. In the meantime, I'm just glad there's nothing I actually need to chase down to buy. Pretty great. Like, anytime a product is coming out and I can't get it on Pokemon Center, I'm kind of nervous. Wow, Brad actually started craving. It finally happened. Don't know what the problem has been all the rest of this time. Good grief. I can't put the joy taken counter up until Brad actually takes the joy. Okay, he took the joy. 32. Ha. But anyway, as I was saying, yeah, I start to get nervous whenever, like, I can't get a product in a pre-order. And, like, Pokemon Center did the original first partner collection as a pre-order item, and I was able to get one of mine through that. But they haven't done it for the second, and I haven't seen it for the third. Doesn't mean they won't, just it means it hasn't happened, and it's a huge question mark of whether they will or not. You can never really know. But there's a semi-local card shop that I've been able to go to and reliably pick up things. It's called Four Horsemen Comics, and they're in my area. I wouldn't say they're convenient because it's like a half-an-hour drive for me, but they do generally have Pokemon releases on the days that they're supposed to release. So I've just been, like, going ahead to them like a half an hour before they open every release day and being like, hey, do you have Thing? And they're like, yeah, we have Thing. And I'm like, great, I'll see you soon. And I set out to go get Thing. And that has been reliable for picking up most new releases. It's only really an issue whenever more than one thing releases. Like, I mentioned earlier that there were some tins coming out. Not on August 7th, but sometime soon after that. And they've got 3 of these things. There's like one for Mega Zeraora, and one for Mega Dragonite, and one for Mega Darkrai, maybe? Don't remember. I think it is Darkrai. But, like, basically, if I go get one of those at Four Horsemen on release day, I'm only going to be able to buy one, because since scalping has been such a huge, ridiculous issue, they've cut it down to the point where you can only buy one copy of a product, even if it's technically 3 versions of the same product. So I can only get one of those. Now, my sister is sometimes able to help me, or coordinate with me, to make this easier. So, like, if they're selling one thing, she can go to Four Horsemen as well, and get me one of the others by buying it herself. But, this particular release, they're doing, like, 3 of them. Like, so even if I and my sister double team it, we're still only going to get 2 out of the 3, and I'll have to, like, track one down on eBay. Blah. Shouldn't be that big of a deal. I figure as long as one of the ones I can secure is Dragonite, I'll be fine, because the other characters aren't nearly as popular. Everyone's gonna go insane for Dragonite because it's Dragonite, and everyone else is gonna not care about Zeraora because they're gonna be like, what even is that? Phew. Yeah, I'm really glad to have Four Horsemen as a resource, because the other place that I was trying to get Pokemon products and have spectacularly failed at ever since one lucky day earlier in the year is Target. The Target right across the street from where I live. It's super convenient, but I cannot catch cards there to save my life. I've talked about this before. I'll go in, and I'll either be there so early that they don't have the stuff on the shelf yet, or I'll have to come back later after work, and it'll be too late, everything will already be gone. And, like, the only time I've actually gotten something I needed from there was whenever Mega Evolution first released, and they happened to have the Gardevoir ETBs still in stock. I picked up one for myself that day, and I was like, oh, thank my lucky stars I got this thing. But nothing ever since. Like, the most I've been able to get is, like, blister packs. And usually not even the ones with, like, exclusive promos, because I don't understand it. I really honestly don't. The blisters tend to survive, because Target has its own policies. They're like, you can only buy 2 of any given product. And I kind of wish they would not blanket it quite so easily like that. Because, like, if a box of things has, like, 6 of a promo product in it, 3 people come along and it's gone. That's how it is. It makes more sense for, like, sleeved boosters and stuff like that, but not for products with higher scarcity. Like, they wonder why their shelves end up empty so much. It's because their practices are insufficient. Their measures. But yeah, they are not reliable for getting the things I'm looking for. So, like, on 10 release day, I basically have zero faith that I'll be able to get back from Four Horsemen with my one, and my sister comes back with another, and I get the third one at Target. But at least at Target, I can buy eBay gift cards with my Target card and save 5%, so that if it's like a $50 eBay card, I get it for $47.50. Yippee! They're still saving me at least some trouble. I just wish the whole thing would cool down. The scalpers need to taper off and get real jobs, and the people buying the cards need to chill the F out. Stop paying scalper prices. Make them starve. Make them beg. Make them cry and go back to selling shoes. Because you see, the scalpers, they will go to any length except getting a real job. They will find a different grift if they can't get what they're looking for. They are incapable of contributing to society. They can only survive through parasitism. Oh my goodness. Anyway. We're down to 15 minutes left. That wasn't too shabby for having to blather about such limited topics. I've really got, like, nothing else happening right now. God. I went to the eye doctor the other day for a routine checkup. Just like, my health insurance covers it, so it's like, why not? Plus, I'm getting up in years, and even though my eyes aren't changing that much, it's still worth monitoring just in case. Because, like, I had some slight concern about my eyesight fairly recently, where it's like, I noticed I was having a harder time keeping track of my mouse cursor if I moved it too quickly. Like, my eyes aren't catching the motion quite as well as they used to. And so, like, on my work laptop, I actually changed the theme of the cursors so they're a little bit larger and they're black instead of white. And that helped. It hasn't really been as much of an issue there. I was also noticing on my laptop here that I'm playing this game with, but on my laptop the theme is largely black, so the white cursor still stands out enough that it's not an issue. But yeah, I went to the eye doctor, and my prescription has like barely changed, and apparently I have better than 20/20 vision with the current specs I'm wearing. Like they said, I was able to read the 20/30 line without much trouble. So that's encouraging. But, like, I put in an order for an extra set of frames because my frame's been getting beat up a bit. I was due to have a new backup pair. But, like, I'd also gotten this dilation process done when I went there. And, the lady, the eye doctor said, okay, go on out and get your glasses orders in and I'll come out to get you. And while I was getting my glasses order in, the lady who was helping with that, once the order was done, she's like, okay, you're good, you can go. And I was like, I don't know why I left after that, but I did. I just, like, neglected the doctor order entirely and just left. And then they called me, like, 15 minutes later when I was all the way down there, and they're like, wait, come back, you didn't do the dilation thing. I came out and you were gone. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll come back. So I ended up doing a whole round trip. And that was during the day, that was Friday last week, where, goodness, we were under, like, a health advisory for the weather because all that wildfire up in Canada had blown ash down all across the state. Our area didn't get it as bad as some places, but, like, the further out you looked, you could just see, like, this gray haze, like a filter over the world. So, because that was going on, I had all my car windows closed to keep the ash out, and I was wearing, like, a face mask. Like, I still had my masks from the COVID days. And I was like, oh, I'll bust this out so I don't have to breathe freaking dead tree matter. But it was also a hot day, so, like, on my round trip away from and then back to the eye doctors, I came back and I was, like, just horribly sweaty. It was awful. A little bit embarrassing, honestly. I was like, I apologize if I reek. I had no way of keeping myself cool because my car doesn't have any AC is the thing. It either doesn't work or it's extremely weak. So, like, I had to keep the windows shut, and there was no way for me to properly, like, ventilate. And while this day had started out much cooler, it got hot over time, and it just never got better, so it's kind of just a miserable experience. That was one of the things that occurred to me I could have talked about during the Manifestation of Marty stream that I didn't. Wow, that was quite a truck slam, dude. Still waiting for the glasses to come in, though. They have not gotten the order done yet. "10 minutes left. Whoa. Why do we keep excelling so hard? Because I'm tired of talking. Yes. It is a bit dry in here today. Not every day I feel the need to, like, moisturize my room, but particularly during recordings with DDLC, I have this little mini humidifier that I use to help keep my voice from drying out. Seems I'll need it this week, particularly, because I'm feeling a little bit parched. I'll have to get, like, a glass of water after this. I was a little worried earlier in the week that I might be coming down with something, because my nose was getting a bit sniffly and I could feel like a little ache in the back of my throat, maybe an itch is a better way to describe it. But it didn't amount to anything, so I guess I'm okay. And hey, I'll take it. Happy not to get sick quite so often. For a little bit there, I was getting sick more often because I was hanging out with the little kids and all that. While babysitting for my sister. But that seems to have subsided, so thank goodness. Maybe I've just been getting lucky, hard to say. But yeah, for a little bit there, I was getting relentlessly ill, and then it stopped being an issue. So great. Oh gosh, next stream is gonna be all about Deltarune. I gotta figure out what the heck I'm doing with that. I lost my stream layout for it because I stupidly deleted a bunch of files that I didn't realize correlated to where I thought they were. Or rather, I thought they were duplicates in a different place on my computer, when it turned out it was just a different location that the computer lets me access the files from. So it kind of fooled me. Welp. Yeah, I had to remake all my stream layouts and stuff. Which is to say, I just gave up on them and recreate them as needed. Which is kind of just as well, because I've started incorporating the chat into the window. That would have required me to rearrange everything regardless. But yeah, everything I used to have for my stream series is gone. That's okay. Usually doesn't take me that long to throw it together. There you go. Rest. God. Actually, we should probably get started on the thing I was intending to do before the end of this stream anyway. Because since this series is themed around taking joy regardless, I figure it's only fitting that we end by using literally all of it. All 96 pieces. Brad is overjoyed. So yeah, we're gonna use all 96 of them. Use all that joy, Brad. At least we don't have to read the message every time, but it does kick us out of the menu every time. $89 pieces of joy on the wall. That's all. What else am I gonna freaking use it for? Should I give it to the other guys? No, I could never inflict that on them. Besides, they would just die by the end of the story anyway. You get stinky too, you filthy man. This is a lot of joy. I guess we could have maximized our joy usage by using up all of the joy before the manifestation of Marty fight. But I didn't think to do that. Plus, we already got some extra joy usage from, alternate timelines where I fell off a cliff after having used some, so it's not truly indicative of how many were ultimately used in the end. But 99 is a very tall stack, and by the time you beat Marty, it's like, do you even need it? I can't remember when Marty becomes available as a boss. I know he's... actually, it might be after you've gotten all the items you need to leave Area 3. But, there are only so many things they could give you to reward you for this, or completing that sequence anyway, so, it's whatever. Hold on, there's a faster way I can do this even still. I'm gonna go sell all our junk. Where's... oh, the shop's all the way up there. Meh. Will this actually be faster? I don't know. Fastest way to be sell all the joy. But I'm just gonna sell you all the things I have, so it's like the top of the thing. all these items. My god, we got so many. The empty bottles, the rando rations, the nuggets, the cigarettes. There, now all we have is joy. Sell the things. I'm not going to use them. Sell them all. Can't sell the key items. It's just me and the joy. If I use up the dirty bottles of water too, I can go even faster. Hold on. We'll dystopian rumble. One last time. And we'll just throw all the dirty bottles. Throw them. Yeah. Man, Gary the Hot Soup has low health. Well, that's bottle dirty water. Like how the bottle animation doesn't even aim where it's going because it was only designed for people in the middle. Boulder screwed. There we go. Now we can use the joy. The joy, use it all up so fast. Chow it down. Eat it all, Brad. You disgust me. Can I get it done by the end of the stream? By the intended end of the stream, I mean. Seems like it. We're really working through them. It's 10:59. Come on. Alright, Brad's attempt to overdose did not work, but we've taken it all the joy. So, 32 plus 96. That's like 128 pieces of joy. There we go. And that's the end of the stream. And I guess the end of the series. There we go, that did it. Alright, that was Lisa the Overjoyed. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And we'll catch you next time with Deltarune Chapter 5, I guess. Hope to see you then. Bye-bye.